I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this is another Higher Things video short. Finding the gospel in the parable of the Good Samaritan. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. Yesterday's Higher Things video short was all about the law in the parable of the Good Samaritan. How do we find a gospel in a parable which is inherently law? Well, the first thing to do is to find Jesus. You find Jesus in the Good Samaritan parable, and you'll find the gospel. The easiest place to find him is where we're sort of directed by our attention that Jesus could be, without doubt, the Good Samaritan himself, the one despised and rejected by all who are religious, just about everybody, who becomes our sin to pull us out of the pit, who pulls us out from our sin's death and the power of the devil. And he pays our check. And he makes us well, and he cleanses us from our sins, taking them upon himself, paying the debt we deserve. The gospel in the parable could very well be that Jesus is the Good Samaritan. And thus the parable turns from simply a condemnation for the lawyer, but also a sort of an image of how God saves us, how he is neighbor to us. He pulls us out of the pit. There's a good gospel-y nugget, but another gospel-y nugget may be that Jesus is the guy in the pit. What I mean by this is he has pulled us out of the pit of our sins, saved us by his holy life and bitter sufferings and death on the cross, so that we might pull others out of the pit, and in so doing, rescue him. And so, the parable itself is a loving God and loving others, and the only way that occurs is in the suffering and death of Christ. He has pulled us out of the pit so that we might pull others out of the pit. And so Jesus is the Good Samaritan. We are the Good Samaritan for others. That is a sort of a third use gospel-y sort of conclusion to the parable, but still faithful to the text, because it's all about what Christ has done for us. Sometimes the gospel is a little hard to find in parables, but all you got to do is find Jesus. Jesus for you and me. Jesus for others. I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.